Hi, welcome to the channel. My name's Kat, and last year I had so many ambitious reading plans. I had so many things that I was intending to do. I did none of them. I majorly fell off on this channel and also majorly fell off in any type of structure I kind of had planned for my reading. But one thing that is bothering me is that I did make a 25 to read in 2025 list, and did I accomplish any of it? I mean, I did read a good portion of it. I will give myself that. But we are coming out with 8 books still on it. It is January now, 2025 is over. And I don't really want to hold this over my head of oh, I said I was going to read these books and I didn't, because all of them were fantasy books that I was pretty excited for. And a lot of them happen to be on my physical TBR. So we are going to be doing a 2-part video where we are reading these 8 books that are left on my 25 in 2025 list. And yeah, they are just books that I'm definitely intimidated by, and I might need that little extra push to get through. So today we are doing part 1. We're going to do 4 books. I'm excited for this. I will say definitely scared. There's a reason I didn't pick them up throughout the year, but this will force me to do it. So 4 books we're going to read today. The Shadow of the Wind. I don't know too much about this one. I think it's something about a book that's being disappearing across the world. Once there were heroes. I think this is to do with dragons, some kind of fantasy with dragons. Sometimes that's all I need in my life. Sometimes I don't need much else. An Oath of Fealty. This, some kind of fantasy world, some kind of thing like that. I don't know too much, but it is one that I own. It's somewhere on the shelf. And Malice by John Gwynne, which is, I don't know, I think more Nordic inspired. I've read one book by John Gwynne before, did not like it. I'm going to try to reread it this year. But Malice I've heard really, really good things about, and a lot of people deeply love John Gwynne as an author, so I wanted to give him a try. But I did have one bad experience, which was The Shadow of the God, The Hunger of the Gods. I really want to try it again, but also it's making me very hesitant to read Malice. There was another reason I was super excited. I can't remember. I really, really wanted to read it this year, but we're going to try it. We're going to see what we think. And yeah, those are the 4 books we are starting this video off with. So keep your eyes tuned for part 2. I'm hoping it will be out next week. And let's just dive in to reading these 4 books. Okay, hello. We are starting officially in this video. We have officially started reading. We have made progress. We are doing the things. And I decided to start with The Shadow of the Wind. And I'm, let's say 20-ish% into it. That's what I think I'm remembering. That's, I think, how far I am in. Not necessarily super far, not necessarily far enough to have really, really delved into the story and the plot. But it is already wildly different than what I actually thought this book was. I thought we were following a young boy who is tasked with protecting this book as it gets destroyed. And in some ways it is. We're following this young boy. He gets brought by his father to this library of, I forget how they word it, or not even library, cemetery of forgotten books. So books that are being destroyed or have disappeared. And basically he's tasked with picking one out, and his life's mission is to then protect this book and make sure it does not get destroyed. Because as he learns, the author who wrote this, his works have basically been systematically destroyed throughout the world. They're getting somebody's grabbing them up, making them disappear, throwing them away, burning them, doing something with them. And our main guy is now tasked with protecting them. And already just something about this, I thought that we were in a wild, fantastical fantasy story, which, to be fair, again, very, very shortly into this one. So things can change quite a bit. But the vibes are different. The vibes are very, very different than what I was actually thinking I was getting into. And I really thought it would just be this wild, fantastical story about also I thought characters came to life in this book. Doesn't seem like it. Seems like it's literally just, there's this mystery about this book disappearing, and I don't even know if he's going to investigate it. But there's this book disappearing, this author's work, and it just kind of consumes his life. Yeah, I think a lot of it too is so far, it seems like we're just kind of following this kid's life. And that kind of seems the vibe of just like, we're following this kid as I guess now he's a teenager, but following like girl drama and him finding his passion in life and all this stuff. And like, I don't know why. I just really, really didn't think that would be the case. I feel like I'm doing like such a bad job describing exactly what is happening in this book. And I think that's partially just, I'm confused already. Not sure exactly what I was expecting, but very much just not what we're getting. And it's decent enough. So far, it's decent enough. I just don't think it's necessarily captivated my interest in the way that I was hoping it would. I'm into it for sure, but I'm not like itching to pick the book back up, which is a major like kind of tell for me of potentially how much I might enjoy it. It's like decent, it's fine. Yeah, I'm just not excited about it necessarily, which is not really how I want to go into a book. I want to be excited for it. And it might be because it's more historical. This takes place in the 1940s or 50s. I forget what country. I think it's a South American country. I can't remember off the top of my head. I'll pop it in if I find it. And it is giving very historical vibes of what the world was like at this time, which is fine. That's just not my thing. I have never gotten into historical books. I never will. And it's usually one of those settings that it makes it like the book has to work extra hard for me to get very invested. So that could be kind of to a detriment of this one. But I'm hopeful. Gonna keep going. I'm gonna see if there's anything else that kind of like makes me excited and kind of where this book goes. Because again, I'm very confused. I don't know where we're going. I don't know how fantastical this is. Like in my mind, this was a pure fantasy. Maybe it's not. Maybe I'm just imagining that. We will see. Hi. So I'm back after a morning of working at the Pilates studio, and in that time, like there's like 3 classes during my shift, and usually I can get into at least one of them. So I did that, and then there were 2 classes where I just had plenty of time to just sit and read, which honestly ideal at times. And we got to about 50% through The Shadow of the Wind at this point, and I'm gonna come in with just again confusion. I really don't know what this is about. I'm still really confused. And just I think in general, like what I thought this book was about versus what we're actually getting is kind of the major issue of this. And it just kind of, I had one thing very set in my head, and apparently it's nothing like that. But it's very much with this young boy. He was gifted this book from the Cemetery of Forgotten Books and tasked with protecting it at all costs. And he kind of gets really obsessed with learning the history of this book and why this book needs to be protected, and also realizing that there's some kind of mystery where it seems like all of this author's books have been slowly destroyed, and there potentially is somebody who is following him. Like there's been some weird figures / somebody just following him who might be trying to take this book from him. And he's just really delving into the mystery of this author and figuring out as much as he can about this author, I guess, too, and maybe what could have happened to like cause these books to be destroyed, or why somebody would want to do it. I don't know. I'm like not super into it, if we're being very honest. I think I mentioned before, like I'm not really into historical fiction, and so much of this seems like it's kind of veering into that historical fiction realm. And I thought this was like straight fantasy. So that's a little disappointing to me. Again, like I had very certain expectations. I had a very clear vision in my head of what I thought this book is. And this is a case where that really, I mean, one, it's not adding up to what I thought, but because I had such a strong perception and idea of this, I really can't get past that. And I'm sure that that is to this book's detriment. Like if I had gone into this knowing nothing, maybe I would feel different. And that kind of brings me into this idea of like, I really like going into books with no reviews sometimes, or really knowing very, very basic plot tropes slash very, very basic plot points. Because I think sometimes just somebody being like, yeah, I enjoyed this book. It was dystopian. You'll like it. Like sometimes I would prefer that than having like an actual well reviewed plot, and then maybe through time, like it might have been potentially a year since I've heard about what I thought this plot was, and it's really like distorted in my mind and changed into something that it definitely is not, or this very vague explanation of what this plot is. Now it's again melded into something different, and I'm really coming into this book expecting a completely different thing than we're getting. So I'm just feeling like a little disappointed, if we're being honest, and just not into it. I'm definitely dragging my feet reading it. Today was good because I was actually able to like force myself and sit down to read, because it's like I had a very strict like basically 2-hour period where I couldn't really, I mean, I could have played on my phone, but I'm trying not to, you know, spend too much screen time. So it was great to be able to sit down and like really force myself to focus. But otherwise, yeah, I'm not super into it. I'm just kind of going along, and it's one that, you know, I could potentially DNF. I'm not going to. I don't think so, at least, because I still have that hope that something could potentially change. And this is kind of like, I struggle with DNFing books at times because there's always that hope that something could change, and that maybe there's going to be some plot point that comes later on in the book that's going to wildly change everything for me. And I'm definitely having that kind of fear right now. But yeah, we're going along. Yeah, again, I'm really not into this one. And it's kind of like the worst way to start this off, because I feel like it's already kind of making this video go longer than I hoped it would be. We're definitely dragging things out significantly longer than I thought I would. But oh well, we're doing okay. We're making progress. I'm gonna keep reading some more. We're gonna be good. All right, it's Sunday. I am already feeling like so crazy productive today, and I'm really hoping I can kind of just keep this energy going and just spend the rest of the day like crossing off so many things. Woke up early. I have started editing. That's kind of like my main thing for today. Is I am going to be in a slight editing hole. And also, like, in terms of YouTube videos and also Instagram, I like to do Sundays as my prep for everything, aka prep for the week kind of day. So I'm gonna do that. I'll probably meal prep. We're gonna have a great Sunday. And also, I want to read. I want to get more progress on books. And we do have an update. Which is that I finished The Shadow of the Wind. I don't know if I just did not understand the point of this, or if my literary analysis is just this bad, which very fair, very potential. I just didn't really get this one. I didn't really enjoy it. I feel like I was majorly missing a huge point of this, or what the message this book was trying to tell us, because I'm not really coming out of it feeling anything great. I feel very lukewarm about it. I feel very, just like I missed potentially a major plot point or a major theme or something, and my brain just did not connect the dots, and I really don't feel anything for this book at the moment. Like, it was fine. The story itself was fine. I just didn't find it overly interesting. I didn't connect with the characters. I didn't just did not do it for me. And like everything that I said kind of before this one, we're still echoing that. I still feel pretty like I didn't feel invested. I didn't feel that into most of the aspects of this story. So I don't really know what else to say besides that of just, it's done. I'm gonna give it a 3-star because it wasn't, again, like, it was very just lukewarm, middle of the road for me. It Didn't do anything egregiously bad, didn't do anything fantastic either. Just kind of a book I read. And that's, again, 3 stars for me. Just kind of, they're fine. They're fine. I have nothing like crazy one way or another to say about it. So that's done. And now I must decide where I want to go next. So I am going to be primarily editing today / doing the other things, but I would like to have a book that I kind of just like when I'm taking my breaks every now and then. Like, I don't want to just be sitting here like doing nothing else. I want to take some breaks and read. And I don't know what I'm going to pick up next. So I'm still waiting on my copy of Malice from the library. I think I'm like the next person in line for it, but you know, we still need to wait. I do have Oath of Fealty here by Elizabeth Moon. I could do this one, or Once They Were Heroes I have on Kindle Unlimited. So I think I'll just kind of look at the descriptions and see which one I feel more. Like, am I feeling more, I don't know why I feel like this is, I guess this is more like political, a mercenary becomes title of a king, and then there's a threat of a coup. So there's this, or Once They Were Heroes. All I have in my head about that one is that there's dragons. And that might be more the vibe I'm kind of feeling right now, because I think I came out of Shadow of the Wind feeling like I wish it was much more heavily fantasy focused. So this one, while it's like political maneuverings and there's lots of little knights on horses and stuff, maybe I want something that's pure dragon. I think that could be very fun next. But I'll kind of see where the mood takes me today. I'm gonna go, again, try and focus for a few hours and then come back and tell you kind of where I am. We are actually accomplishing things. I'm really happy about that. We have had a productive day. I worked out, I showered, I did stuff around the house as I wanted, and we've read some. So that is always super exciting. So the updates that we have about reading. So started Oath of Fealty, and how far is this? 168 pages, so I'm on chapter 17. And I'm really not feeling much about this one so far. So we're kind of like, I mean, the updates that we're going to give right now aren't the most exciting. Kind of feeling nothing about this. There's somebody who is now appointed king, and we're following people in the land who are kind of dealing with it. That's like the vaguest synopsis, but I'm also like not as mentally invested in this one as I kind of hoped I would be. So I kind of like don't have much else to say about it. It's like, that's fine. Yeah, I like really have no other thoughts about it. But I started and then DNF'd Once We Were Heroes. And I think I could have enjoyed this one if I really wanted to give it more effort, but I couldn't wrap my head around it. And maybe this is just a mood, because I am coming into this one with like, I'm like, I don't know if I really know what's going on in it. And this might just be like today's issue. But Once We Were Heroes, it really started off interesting. There's this war that's coming to a kingdom. There's something about dragons that were around. There's these prophets. There's all these interesting things. But my issue is that every chapter, and this is such a common thing, every chapter, it was changing perspectives, but it was also changing timelines. And I was just having the hardest time ever keeping track of it. And like, I don't know why. I read a lot of sci-fi, I read a lot of fantasy, and this is a very common thing to happen, is there being like wildly differing timelines and just characters jumping, like we are jumping between them. We're following all of these different times. This is common, this happens a lot. I just could not for the life of me wrap my head around it today. And I think the first 2 chapters / 2 perspectives I found really, really interesting. And then every other one I was like, oh God, what am I reading? I don't understand this. And like, in theory, we probably would have went back to these perspectives that I enjoyed. We probably would have seen things that I liked. I could not bring myself to care. So yeah, decided to DNF that one. One of those book DNFs that like, in theory, I might go back to it at some point, especially if any of you have read it and think that it's worth my time. But yeah, also I just didn't really care enough. So yeah, we're DNFing that one. Book Shadow of the Wind was 3 stars. I'm not really enjoying this one. Like, this video is already off to a bad start, which is great. Who knows? Maybe things will turn around. But yeah, maybe there's a reason why I put off reading these books for so long. maybe it's just because I did not want to read them and had a feeling they wouldn't be great. So yeah, there we go. I am gonna go about my day a bit more. Probably, this is reading fast, so maybe I'll be able to finish it today, but let's see. Buddy. Okay, I was bad. I was really bad. I didn't film any updates at all while I was reading this, and I am going to give you the most unsatisfying review ever, which is that this was so boring and nothing retained in my head. I'm giving it 2 stars. It was just like intensely uninteresting to me, and I probably should have DNF'd it, but I could not get my brain to focus on any of what was happening. And that really just led to my brain, you know, like not paying any attention. It's just like there's kings, there's a coup, there's things happening. It wasn't interesting. Would not recommend. I would still like to try more from Elizabeth Moon. I was really hoping for much better in this one, to be honest. I really thought that she would be a new favorite author. So count me incredibly disappointed right now. Yeah, this really was not it. I'm definitely gonna unhaul this book too, because man, it did not do anything to me. Yeah, 2 stars, we're done. But I also, we're doing something better now, or we have better news at least. And I've started the final book for this video, Malice, and I am having a fantastic time. So I think I mentioned in the intro, I've tried John Gwynne before, and unfortunately he didn't really work for me at the time. I read, I think it's The Shadow of the Gods, which I do very much now want to give a second try. I think maybe at the time it just wasn't, you know, maybe I wasn't in the headspace. That's why I do like to try authors again, even if I haven't necessarily enjoyed books from them. And just based on how much I'm enjoying Malice, I think I need to give this book another shot, because originally I gave it 2 stars, and maybe it's just that story wasn't for me, but also I'm really deeply enjoying his writing. So quickly diving into what this book is about. Basically, we're in this world. There used to be gods and giants. I mean, the giants are still there, but their gods used to be very present, it seems like. And there's prophecy that there will come 2 people who are basically avatars for gods, and there will be a war. There's one who's the black sun and one who's rising star, something like that. But there's 2 people who will basically someday be elevated to essentially the god's avatar and start a god war on this realm. And we're following a few people, and it seems like there's one person who I'm very sure is going to be one of them, but we also don't know. Like, it says in this prophecy, one of them is basically for the forces of evil, one's for the forces of good. We won't know who it is. And there's one person who's very clearly, like, I think going to be somebody of importance, but again, we don't know why. And I'm incredibly fascinated with that one specific storyline. There's a few other ones. We are following several different characters, and I mean, there's 2 that really have captivated my interest, and I am fully deeply invested in already. And those are the ones that I'm kind of like, they're really propelling this read forward for me. They're making me really excited to keep going. And the other ones are fine. I'm just not as into it. There are also, like, I think I'm already having issues keeping some of the characters like in track of. I'm having a bit of issues keeping track of some of the characters already. Basically the ones who are in the smaller storylines and we don't see as often. Some of them are kind of melding together. I need to pay more attention to that as we go forward. But I'm really deeply invested. I don't know if this one's kind of like in a Vikings kind of timeline, because that was one of my issues with The Shadow of the Gods, is that it's very Viking-esque, and that is not necessarily my thing. I've never really been a Vikings kind of girly. And this one, it's not quite that. Like, I can see kind of the hints, inspiration, like little things that are kind of Viking-esque, but it's not really like full-blown Vikings. And I'm appreciating that for sure. Yeah, definitely just like having a fantastic time reading this one. Really, really enjoying it, and really glad I picked it up. I think it's definitely something too, like there's a lot going on. It's a slower story. It's kind of dense in some ways. So it's one that you really, really have to be intensely focused in and take kind of slower, which is something I'm trying to prioritize this year. In the past, sometimes I would just try to speed through a book, and perhaps that's why I didn't enjoy some things that I've read in the past. So I'm really, really trying this year to be much more slow and intentional with my reads and just really, really take the time to absorb things and enjoy them. And I think that this is very much like to the benefit in this book. So really, really enjoying that one. I have a feeling that this might be like our win of the video. The other books weren't necessarily that great for me, but perhaps this will be the one that just gets me like super excited about fantasy books again. So I can't wait to keep going. I'm a little bit further into Malice, and just wanted to quickly say, so I'm still really very deeply enjoying this. And like really, like there's so many good things. The world building is fantastic. I think the pace is really, really good. I think that the way the information has been presented to us is pretty fantastic so far. Like it's a very slow build. We are getting these slow revelations, and it makes a lot of sense. Like it really is just really, really tying into a very fun story. But I do find, so kind of mirroring, I guess what I was saying before, is that I do think that there's perhaps too many kingdoms we're following / too many characters within these kingdoms, and that is kind of confusing me. Like I think a lot of people were introduced very, very quickly, and the distinctions were not made clearly enough about whose allegiance is where, because there's a lot of like, there's these different kingdoms. There's like kings meet / the kings are meeting to talk about this like potential prophecy that seems to be coming forward, because there's certain like omens associated with this prophecy that are becoming visible. And I am just kind of having a difficulty about which characters are aligned with which kingdom, and if there are certain things within these kingdoms that they're trying to achieve / if they are, you know, leaning a certain way or something. That kind of thing I'm trying to really, really keep straight in my head, and we're definitely struggling. I will say that. But otherwise, I'm enjoying this. I'm enjoying it very significantly. I do wish we had more female perspectives. That's just kind of an aside. We only have one, and there's at least one other character I would really, really love to have her perspective from. Otherwise, we're doing good. We're doing good. We're enjoying this quite a bit. So hi, I'm just gonna pop in and finish off this video. So I loved Malice. I'm giving it a 4-star, and I really, really deeply enjoyed this. Like so pleasantly surprised, and really just very, very intrigued with this world as a whole, intrigued where the other books are gonna go, and really, really excited about this series. Because if this works for me, John Gwynne is an author with an extensive backlist. So that could be very exciting for me to find another fantasy author that I really like. I'm glad that I gave him another chance. This was like a really, really good idea for me, and I'm really excited. I'm really excited to keep reading his works and to see how it goes. A lot of my thoughts kind of, you know, will mirror what I said earlier of I enjoyed the story. I enjoyed the world building. The characters were interesting, and yeah, this was just great. So with that, we're done part 1 of reading 2025 and 2025 books. We are gonna have another episode out very, very soon, so keep your eyes on that. But let's briefly recap this one, which it's kind of interesting to think about like how kind of poorly this went in some ways. So we had 1 DNF, we had a 3-star. What was the other? Do we have another 3-star or 2-star? I don't know. And then Malice was the only one. I don't know, like Malice is definitely the winner of this video, and I'm really, really happy that I actually got to it. So thanks for watching this video, and yeah, I will catch you guys very, very soon in episode 2. Bye.